Hello, little witchlings and princelings, and welcome to your weekly Coven Summoning. My name is Ilsa.
And my name is Stacy.
And we're Caffeine and Conjuring,
a fantasy bookish podcast where we will discuss some of our favorite fantasy reads.
If you haven't already, so nothing gets spoiled for you, please make sure that you read up to chapter 29 of Queen of Shadows and then the rest of Throne of Glass prior, because we will be talking about anything and everything. So we ended off last episode. Aelin and Chaol got into a super heated argument. Chaol is pissed that Aelin tried to kill Dorian. She asserts her queenly dominance and sends Chaol to be the first watch of the evening. And then we get the little conversation with Lysandra where we find out that she knew all along that Celaena was Aelin. And there was no hard feelings about keeping it a secret.
I'm really liking the development between Celaena, Aelin, and Lysandra.
Mm.
Oh, I just think all the characters besides Chaol are just getting like super beefed up in this book. Chaol just
you just want to
I'm
beat
still
him.
Very angry. Not him. Sarah. Why did she take so many good opportunities for Chaol and just totally make his character shit the bed? I'm just so angry.
We'll take a little step back from
anyways, where do we go?
Chaol and Aelin.
Okay.
Chapter 20 starts out with Aelin Lochin's POV. She's tasked with delivering an urgent letter to Manon in the Eyrie. She struggles with getting there, her ankle giving her grief the entire way. The memes about Aelin and her ankle, and about another character in the future for similar things. I can't wait to share them. But anyways, getting back. We get a little more insight. She talks about how her uncle stole her father's claim to the title of Lord of Parenth, and she really hates him for this. She believes that Aelin is dead, so she doesn't plan to return to Terrasen, but she's desperate to escape Morath somehow. When she delivers the letter to Manon, she instantly suspects Aelin to have read the letter, but it's then that Aelin confesses that she cannot read, and she is unaware of her witch ancestry. So we have a new little witchling added to the story.
Yeah, that was the part that I messaged you. I was like, she's a witch! Oh, that is so interesting.
Yeah. I can't wait for her story to expand. So, Aelin observes Abraxos, noticing his scarred appearance and smaller size, and senses a strange, almost dog-like empathy from him, leading her to believe Manon might have a soft spot for broken things. Manon later questions Ghislaine, the cleverest of her 13, about the Valg. Ghislaine reveals that witches are the offspring of Valg and Fae, created a millennia ago when the Valg invaded. She describes the Valg as pure evil, lacking morals and viewing bonds as weaknesses. They were cast out by King Brandon and Queen Maeve. Manon also learns that the King of Ardalan has found a way to bring the Valg into their world by stuffing them into human bodies. We learn that a Yellowlegs clan coven has volunteered to be experimented on by Duke Parrington, which is a big relief to Manon because now she doesn't have to subject her own clan to it. Creepy little stone and abdomen testing to make witchy Valg babies. Manon later confronts the Duke, demanding to know the purpose behind his alliance with the Valg and the massive army he's raising. And this Duke simply states, because we can, and that he intends to improve this world. Manon, recognizing the ominous scope of his ambitions, contemplates the possibility of one day fighting the very allies they've gained.
within that like conversation that she has with him, she also notices that he says this world, not this continent or this whatever. And she's starting to like tune into the fact that like, hmm, maybe we're not actually going to be getting what we're told we're going to get. Like she seems to be getting skeptical of everything.
All right, Stacey, bring us into the next paragraph.
Oh, this very long chapter. I could not believe it took me forever to write up the notes. So, chapter 21, we get the very brief but harrowing perspective of Dorian again. And this chapter reveals his continued torment. He describes his struggles against the demon prince controlling his body and his relief when Aelin almost killed him. His subsequent despair when she didn't. He wishes that she had ended him, and he hates her for leaving him trapped with the Valg.
If only Dorian and Kale could have a little, like, mind-to-mind thing.
Yep. Yep.
Well, on to chapter 22.
Oh, fucking Kale. God damn it.
Oh, how times have changed.
I'm just mad at Sarah.
So, chapter 22, Kale, leaving his watch post, is consumed by anger and a sense of betrayal over Aelin's actions with Dorian. He believes Dorian isn't lost and that giving up is the true weakness. Driven by a desperate need to act, he descends into the city sewers, hoping to find and ambush stray Valk soldiers and rescue...
Say that 10 times fast.
and rescue prisoners. However, he discovers all the Valk nests are empty. They vanished with their captives, confirming his fear that Aelin's highly visible rescue attempt came at a significant cost. Feeling like a fool, Kale seeks out Nesrin Falik at her father's. She is calm and collected, confirming her family is safe, and listens patiently to his angry rant about Aelin and the vanished Valg. Nesrin, however, isn't here for a pity party. She shares her own past and pushes back, urging him to adapt and keep fighting for a better future, regardless of what happened to Dorian. She reminds him it's also up to ordinary people to make a difference. Despite their deep disagreement about Dorian, there's quite an understanding and even a hint of affection between them. They decide to hit the sewers again, bright and early, to continue to fight.
I liked how she says that, like, Kale is fighting to save Dorian or because of Dorian, but she basically doesn't give a shit what happens to Dorian. She's like, regardless of what happens to Dorian, like, I'm here fighting. I liked how she put him in his place, I think.
Yep.
So chapter 23, this chapter checks in on Aedion as he wakes up in Aelin's apartment, and the first thing he sees is Aelin herself. I loved this chapter.
Their banter is everything.
Oh, yes. So she is just totally crashed out in the armchair next to his bed, and he notices that she looks exhausted, but she's safe. And it's a huge moment for him. Tears just start flowing. He talks about how his pillow is feeling damp and he can't stop the tears. After some lighthearted teasing about her spectacular rescue, they basically just look at each other and just soak it all in. And he tells her that she's worth it. All the years of waiting, all the pain, totally worth it to have her back. They spend the rest of the day just talking, finally catching up on 10 years of their lives. And it's clear that their bond is unbreakable. It's like two sides of the same coin. And he admits he could never be ashamed of her no matter what she's done to survive. And it is exactly what Aelin needed to hear.
Yep, he's still ready to give her that blood oath.
Yeah, which she...
we'll get to that.
Kind of avoids that conversation. No matter how many times he mentions it going forward. Oh boy. But later we get Aelin, Kale, and Lysandra. Still not sure how to pronounce a lot of these names. But they find themselves at the pits, which is and basically the vaults. Like it just took over, or new people, I guess, own it, new owners.
Yeah.
Is that how that went down?
I,
I don't know.
It's like they just set up their base somewhere else and it's basically the same thing, just...
Basically the same thing, just, yeah, okay. Aelin quickly realizes that Arobin has pulled them there for a reason. He wants her to put on a show for the owners, demonstrating his assets, read Deadly Assassins, to secure an investment. She also spots Val guards in the crowd, seemingly feeding off of the violence, and figures out Arobin's trying to use them as bait for Kale. Aelin and Kale are still pretty tense after their last argument, but Aelin also has to navigate Arobin's mind games, like when he makes a point of Lysandra being there, knowing Aelin would have to act indifferent. He tasks Aelin with fighting in the pit, tells her to pick her own name. He just told them that she's a silent assassin. So naturally, Aelin deems herself as Ansel of Briarcliff. Familiar.
Yeah.
Familiar. So the ultimate test, Arobin tells her to pick her opponent from the Val guards, and it's his way of asserting dominance and reminding her of her debt. Despite Kale's protests, Aelin agrees. Masked and radiating power, she steps into the pit, ready to spill some Valg blood and to put on a show. Also, I didn't note, but she picked the Valg commander.
Yeah.
She was basically like, let's pick the biggest, baddest.
Yeah. She's like, if we're gonna do this, go in it with a bang.
Yep.
So chapter 24, Kale is a mess, watching Aelin jump into a fighting pit to face a Val commander. He is still wrestling with his anger over Aelin not killing Dorian, and the nagging thought that Arobin, who set this whole thing up, is playing a dangerous game. Aelin, in her all-black suit and mask, is a blur of motion. She's fast, brutal, pummeling the commander with a ferocity that leaves the crowd stunned. I don't know if we mentioned this, but there was no weapons. It was a weapon-free fight. So she's just wailing on him.
No weapons.
Yeah.
Because I think she makes note that, like, she still has some hidden, but...
Yeah. Kale realizes she's enjoying herself despite the danger, and she's letting the fight drag on just to impress Arobin. Then, things get ugly. The Val commander bites Aelin's forearm, revealing his true nature and taunting her, calling her a half-breed bitch, and mentioning Morath, where they take prisoners for unknown, horrifying purposes. Aelin quickly ends the fight, snapping his neck, and to Kale's horror, brutally decapitating the body to prevent its return. After the fight...
That was pretty gross.
Yeah.
The way that was written out.
After the fight, Arobin pulls Aelin aside. He's annoyed she killed the commander instead of just knocking him out, but then he hits her with a devastating blow. He knows where Sam is buried. She questions the price of him telling her, but he says she just paid it with the fight. Aelin forces herself to accept the information. She declares herself officially retired and slips out into the night, hoping Kale and Nesrin, who are now tracking the Valg thanks to Arobin's gift, don't run into trouble. She knows more than ever that she should have just killed Dorian.
I'm so afraid how that's all going to pan out.
I am not ready for Sam's grave. We haven't gotten to that yet, but...
No. Fuck. Yeah, that's going to be rough. Oh, chapter 25. I like all the Astron in this chapter.
Mm-hmm.
So we get a lead. She's doing the dishes in the kitchen. and she is mentally planning her escape. Her thoughts are interrupted when Astrid enters the kitchen and unnervingly insists on helping Aelin with the dishes. And this puts everyone on edge. As they wash, Astrid subtly interrogates Aelin, questioning her chains and hinting at a hidden power within her, specifically mentioning Iron Teeth witch blood in her maternal lineage. This revelation stuns Aelin, who has always believed herself fully human. After escaping the kitchen, Aelin's mind races. She realizes Vernon might be keeping her chained due to the potential power, and that her safest bet is to finally try and escape. She decides to steal money from Manon's room to bribe her way out. What a fucking terrible idea. Because we already know that Manon could smell Aelin.
Yeah, of
when
all
she,
the people to
she
steal
knew
from.
that Aelin was looking at her map. Like, genius. So Astrid catches Aelin in the act of taking the coins from Manon's room, and Aelin, desperate, confesses her desire to flee Morath, fearing Vernon will use her for the Duke's dark experiments. Astrid, seemingly amused, calls her a witchling and questions her fear of being a witch. And then, of course, Manon enters, and she is demanding an explanation. Astrid steps forward, defending Aelin and revealing the conversation. Manon is dismissive, reiterating that humans are inconsequential, but Astrid challenges her, arguing that Aelin, despite being a witchling, is still one of their kind and shouldn't be subjected to Vernon's horrors. Manon, frustrated, orders Aelin back to her room, but lets her keep the money. She advises Aelin to not use the coin to bribe anyone in the mountain, but to save it for when she's free. I like how we got that little bit of, I don't know if you want to call it compassion from Manon when she warns Aelin,
Yeah.
Don't trust anybody in the mountain, don't bribe them, they're not going to tell you what the truth or anything, and just save it. And then once they're outside of her room, they find Vernon, and he mockingly alludes to Aelin's loyalty and her father being a traitor, reminding her it's the anniversary of his death, which Aelin had forgotten. Manon, repulsed by Vernon's cruelty, swiftly dismisses him. I did really like how Manon just basically just told him to fuck off. Oh, it was such a cool scene. And then once they're in Aelin's tiny room, Manon offers her a choice. Does she bleed blue or red? Choosing blue would make Aelin a Blackbeak subject to Manon's jurisdiction, but also making her a target for Vernon. It's a calculated risk, making Aelin bait in Manon's own schemes against Vernon. Despite the danger, Aelin chooses blue, accepting her new, unsettling identity and finding a strange sense of belonging in the process. I am totally fully invested in everything that's happening in Morath right now. I just want more. Thus my shirt. I'm wearing my Manon shirt.
Love it. So chapter 26, we're starting with Aedion's POV as he's finally strong enough to move around Aelin's apartment rooftop. He's trying to shake off the lingering frustration of being cooped up, especially after learning Aelin went out and fought Valg demons without him. He playfully teases her, but there's definitely an underlying concern for her safety. Aedion basically fangirls all about Rowan to Aelin. He's shocked at how Aelin seems so oblivious or doesn't care about to Rowan's legendary status, much to Aedion's amusement and slight exasperation, especially given Rowan's strong scent on her. He also mentally grapples with the tradition of the blood oath in Terrasen, which is his right to swear to Aelin and his unwillingness to yield that honor to even Rowan. Well, my guy, that ship has unfortunately sailed. But we're still getting to that. Their conversation is cut short when Kale arrives with devastating news. The Shadow Market has been destroyed by the Valg, burned to the ground with many people trapped inside. Kale, pale and furious, implies this was a direct retaliation for Aedion's public rescue, and he blames Aelin. This is one of the quotes I have, because Aelin's comeback to him when he is blaming her for this. She says, "Need I remind you, Captain, that you went to Endovier and did not blink at the slaves, at the mass graves? Need I remind you that I was starved and chained, and you let Duke Parrington force me to the ground at Dorian's feet while you did nothing? And now you have the nerve to accuse me of not caring, when many of the people in the city have profited off the blood and misery of the very people you ignored." Oh. Yeah.
Oh. I was fuming. Yeah. Fuming at this part.
Yeah, she snaps that maybe the city should burn, and then stalks off, leaving Kale to stew. Aedion confronts him, defending Aelin and probing about Dorian. Kale admits the Val commanders are still at large, and he is sticking around Rifthold for Dorian, even if it means dying. Aedion, feeling a rare moment of kindness, confirms there was no sign of the man inside him when he saw Dorian in the dungeon, effectively telling Kale that Dorian is truly gone. Kale, however, refuses to accept this, and this reiterates his shattered trust in Aelin. And Aedion's response to this was so good, I have it highlighted. It was just quite simply, "Then it's your loss," Aedion said. "Good luck." Meanwhile, while this is happening, Aelin is tracking down a Val commander in the sewers, and she's struggling with her lie to Aedion about the blood oath. So, just to recap, Rowan, when his blood oath to Maeve was broken, he immediately gave a blood oath to Aelin, which was Aedion's right since a child. So as of now, Aedion still thinks that he's going to give Aelin said blood oath. And she's avoiding that conversation like the plague.
Naturally.
So Aelin, she stealthily follows the commander through the tunnels. She reaches a massive ancient pool. To her horror, a creature emerges from the water. This is the chapter, this is the chapter, this is the chapter.
This is the chapter? Ah, yes, it is the chapter. But thank God we are not left on a cliffhanger from the creature that emerges from the water, because if that was where we had to end this episode, or even at the end of this current chapter, I think I would have flipped. So the creature that emerges from the pool is one of the gargoyles from the clock tower. And she's not sure at this point, like she does say that she's not sure if it is the actual gargoyle from the actual clock tower, or if it resembles a gargoyle, or if the gargoyles on the clock tower resembles this. It's just all, we don't know. But it's speaking with the voice of the King of Aedon, confirming that he can see and hear through it. The commander reports on the search for Aedion, who Arobin has cleverly misled them into believing was heading south, and Aelin realizes the king is using these creatures for surveillance and hunting. Aelin is shaken by this, and she returns to her apartment. She and Aedion immediately get into a tense argument about her secret outings and his fear for her safety. This was actually kind of cute. Like he was like trying not to be too alpha. but he was really failing. He's like really frustrated by her half-truths.
Oof.
And then to try to bridge the gap, they begin to share the stories behind their many, many scars, revealing the brutal history that they both endured in the 10 years they were separated. And Aedion then offers Aelin the sword of Orinth, his father's blade, but she insists that it belongs to him, so she doesn't take it. Then 2 days later, Aedion is restless. He's feeling very caged. And Aelin recognizes his need for freedom and agrees to take him out, saying he's worse than a dog. Speaking of dogs, where's Fleetfoot
Kale
at this
has
point?
him. I think he said that he's at his buddy's farm or something, being well taken care of.
I couldn't remember. Okay, I couldn't remember, and I felt bad for not knowing where Fleetfoot was. So, as they're leaving the apartment, they encounter Nesrin, who came by with a report on new Valg nests, and Aelin invites Nesrin along. Cue Aedion flirting. I think he even says that, like, he needed another pretty face, basically alluding to needing somebody that he could flirt with, not Aelin. Because, oh god. So anyways, they spend the evening at a rough tavern playing cards and just talking. And later, as they walk through an alley, Aedion's face senses prickle, and we see a tall, powerful male emerge from the mist. And Aelin is utterly overwhelmed. She sprints forward, she's crying, she's laughing, she throws herself into his arms.
Can I play it?
Yes.
Who is that? Aedion smiled.
You guys, the amount of TikToks I've sent Stacy today that are just all different versions of that.
I have seen so many.
I have been waiting.
That audio will just play on repeat.
The second that line came up, it was just an instant flow of videos going from my saved TikToks and mine and Vic's messages straight to you. And there's so many more.
As soon as I read that, I had to message you, and I was just like, oh my god, it's Rowan. And I was crying. I don't know why. I think it was just like how much like tension I was feeling from everything, and then all of a sudden it was just like her relief. Because there were multiple times that like she had mentioned Rowan and like missing him and waking up to like an empty side of her bed, stuff like that. Like I was just, and then finally he's here. Like I could feel that relief.
Aedion smiled. Oh god.
Rowan.
My favorite one is I think it was like the last one I sent you, and Rowan is just like, instead of being just like a random bird, it was just like the giant log of beef just like slapped onto the table. Beef? Not beef. Poultry. It would be poultry. A log of poultry. Oh, some of them are so good. Alright. So, Rowan's back. So, chapter 28. Aelin is obviously a sobbing mess when Rowan appears, and she practically tackles him down. He's stowed away on a ship and tracked her by her scent. Classic Faye. They have a sweet, tearful reunion, full of playful insults about his stinky stowaway smell and her good spirits despite everything. I love them so much. Then the tension starts. Aedion and Rowan, two powerful Fae males, immediately lock eyes in the silent alpha male standoff. Aelin tries to break it up, calling them insufferable and pains in her ass. They head back. They head back to her apartment, and Aelin, without much fanfare, introduces them, then drags Rowan off for a much-needed bath, leaving Aedion to fume.
I love that. She was just like, Aedion, Rowan, Aedion. Okay, let's go.
Let's go get you cleaned up, baby.
Yeah.
While Aelin is scrubbing Rowan's hair, and yes, it's really a whole thing, and he's even purring. He also cut it very short, which, personal, I love the long hair, but like with his face tattoos and everything in the fan arts, the short hair is just chef's kiss on him.
Mm-hmm.
So Aelin has a little moment of grieving his long, pretty hair, which I get, but he could rock anything.
The fan art with his like sharp jawline and just
now
yeah,
I'm
okay. I'm sold on the short hair for.
We see a little more healing here. She uses her best lilac soap and gives him Sam's clothes to wear. Lavender soap. And gives him Sam's clothes to wear. Isn't lilac and lavender the same thing? No?
No.
Oh. They're both instant headache for me. So.
Yeah, I know. I'm not a fan of either smell.
So as we know, this is a pretty big step for Aelin because the lavender soap was a big regret that she had after Sam passed. And she hated herself for never letting him actually use the good soap.
Oh, that scene.
But the big bombshell drops after they're out and are with Aedion again when Rowan casually mentions he's blood sworn to her. Aedion's been waiting his whole life to swear the blood oath to Aelin, and everything turns to chaos.
Oh my god.
I did feel bad for him. Like, I fully understand, like, Aelin's side of this. Like, she hasn't seen him since he was 8. As far as she knew, he was an enemy at this point. You have this 7-foot-tall, white-haired Fey warrior who would do anything for you, saying that he's going to make a blood oath to protect you. Yeah, obviously.
Yes. Raw. Next question.
And, like, it is mentioned that, like, you can have more than one blood oath, because Maeve has multiple. But it's just not a Terrasen custom. But that can be changed, like she said. So Aedion erupts, feeling completely betrayed, accusing Aelin of lying and questioning her loyalty to her people. Aelin, equally enraged, defends her choice, stating that Aedion wasn't in her life when she made the oath, and that Rowan earned her loyalty as her Cairnam. She even tells Aedion to act like a human being and throws him out of the apartment. Aedion storms off, feeling like all his plans and his very identity as Aelin's general have been shattered. Oh, and amidst all this chaos, Rowan also reveals that Gavriel, one of his cadre, is actually Aedion's father.
What?
You are the father. So this explains Aedion's Fey abilities and why his mother kept his parentage a secret to protect him from Maeve. Aelin and Aedion quickly agree to keep this quiet for now, not wanting to start a war with Maeve. One tyrant at a time. Now, take her away, Stacy, for our final chapter.
Last chapter. Chapter 29. So after Aedion storms off, we get Rowan's POV, and he's left fuming. He's wrestling with whether to go after Aedion for what he said to Aelin or not. He gets why Aedion's upset, but he still thinks it's no excuse. He watches Aelin pace, just mesmerized by her, even without her magic. He realized how stunning she is and how much he missed her, especially with nightmares that he's been having since she's been gone. But Aelin eventually opens up and she confesses how much pressure she feels. She's terrified of making a wrong move that could ruin everyone's lives, including Rowan's. Rowan tries to reassure her, telling her that she will make mistakes and there won't always be a perfect choice. He reminds her that he wouldn't have sworn his blood oath to her if he didn't believe she could handle it. And then yet another bomb is dropped. Lorcan is in a rifthold.
Whoop, whoop. Let's go!
We're not supposed to be excited about that yet, though, because we're assuming that Maeve sent him probably to track down Aelin and find the third word key.
Villains are hot. I could be literally
So
woohooing about anything. Like, come on now.
Fair. So Rowan is on high alert, and he is basically just saying that he. Do I have that highlighted? He says, he basically says like it would. She asks who would win, if Lorcan could take Rowan or if Rowan could take Lorcan, and he said, without our magic, it's hard to call who'd win. It would depend on who wanted it more. Lorcan, with his unending cold rage and a talent for killing gifted to him by Hellas himself, never allowed himself to lose. Battles, riches, females, Lorcan always won at any cost. Once, Rowan might have let him win, let Lorcan end him just to put a stop to his own miserable life. But now, and then Rowan says to Aelin, Lorcan makes a move against you and he dies. That was it. That was period. End of. Oh, I loved it. After all that, he tells her like he's going to be hunting him basically. But after that, it's later in the day and they're getting ready for bed and there's a little bit of playful tension. And this, I messaged you and I was just like, this is the perfect chapter to end this episode on because it was just good. It was fun. It made me smiley. So there's a whole lot of this like playful tension and banter between Aelin and Rowan. And Aelin, ever the instigator, insists that Rowan sleeps in her bed. He's hesitant because of how it might look to others, but she brushes off his concerns. Then the mood gets a little more serious when Aelin reveals that Kale, the captain, called her a monster and blamed her for everything that happened while she was away. Rowan immediately jumps to her defense, shutting down that idea completely. He reaffirms her worth, showing just how deep their bond goes, and this ultimately gets him into the bed. But the way that he says, okay, hold on, because I do have this highlighted. It was like literally the only thing I highlighted out of these out of these chapters. He says, if you're a monster, I'm a monster. And I fucking want that tattooed everywhere on my body. So, Aelin then lightens the mood by teasing him about her scandalous nightgown. So she goes and she gets changed and she's just like, how can I be an even bigger instigator right now? And she literally comes out in this pink little slip nightgown.
With no underwear.
And, yeah, like this is, and he's just like, where's the bottom? He is very not okay, but to Aelin she's like there's no like ruffling him at all, like he's just, I don't know, like she doesn't see it, but when we get his point of view he's just all sorts of fuddled up from her. So she so they're talking about like just Fae customs and like Rowan's past. Like he says like he's never seen a female wearing night clothes like that. And she's just like, brings up, who was it that she said from his past? She's like, she's never worn anything like this. And
His mate, right?
anyways. No, it wasn't his mate. It was
Oh.
somebody else. I think it was just somebody that he... Anyways. Yeah, so she eventually asks him what his preferred color for her night clothes would be. And he finally admits gold.
And not the yellow kind.
And she's just like, oh.
The, like, shiny,
yeah,
expensive
like gold.
kind.
Yeah, and she's just like, oh, no.
Even I
wouldn't
wouldn't have something that tacky, or however she worded it.
Yeah.
Ostentatious?
Yeah, I think that's the word. Yeah. He keeps like, I just scrolling down through to find it, but he keeps saying like boundaries, lines, off limits. He's basically like this mantra in his head, like off
think of
limits.
Grandma, think of Grandma, think of Grandma.
Yeah. So, yeah. It, like they're going to sleep or whatever. And like 30 minutes later, this is Rowan still staring up at the ceiling, teeth gritted as he calmed the roaring in his veins that was steadily shredding through his self-control. That goddamn nightgown. Shit. He was in such deep unending shit. And then that was it for his point of view. But anyways, it's morning now. Aelin's making breakfast when Aedion sheepishly joins her, and there's still some lingering awkwardness, but Aelin's ready to clear the air, and she admits that her temper got the best of her and apologizes for not telling him about Rowan's blood oath. She acknowledges that she messed up and understands how important that oath was to him. I liked this because we are finally seeing Aelin mature. Because if you think about Aelin in the past, the other books that we read, she would never admit to being in the wrong. She would have just like, brushed it off but the fact that she was the first to apologize, to say like, yeah, like I screwed up. I'm sorry. I loved that. I loved seeing that character development from her. And Aedion is still processing everything, and he expresses his own shame for his outburst. And he shares how much the blood oath tradition meant to him. And Aelin assures him that he can still take the oath, even if it means creating the new tradition for her court, emphasizing that the choice is entirely his own. And he declares that he will take it, but only when she's crowned and it's in front of everybody.
He wants it to be a spectacle.
He needs the show. Yes. Which, fair. Okay. Poor little Aedion. So then the chapter ends with Aelin and Aedion on much better terms, back to their usual banter and preparing breakfast. It's a small sign of reconciliation after a very rough night. We also find out too that Aedion didn't, because she told him to just leave, to go. Like,
yeah, and he went.
She didn't care where.
He just went
go.
up on the roof and took watch instead of actually leaving.
Yeah. Bless his heart. Yeah, he says, you kicked me out of the apartment, but not the warehouse. So, yeah. I feel like we got so much in those chapters. Yeah. Like, there was so much. We got so many different points of view. We got a little of everybody. We're about halfway now, right? Maybe a little less than halfway, but shit is stirring up. I just want to get back to Aelin and Manon and figure out what is happening there.
I want to get to Kingdom of Ash. I want to get to Kingdom of Ash. I'm still reeling from going ahead and finishing it. Like, I had to force myself to read as much other things as possible so I'm not just like sat there grieving.
Oh my god. Yeah.
This is an insane series. Like,
yeah. Yeah, I had to go and buy more t-shirts because I needed more Throne of Glass t-shirts now. And I may have another couple coming. It's just so good so far. I love literally every character. For the most part. Some I'm questioning, but...
You're falling out of love with a couple.
It's so hard. It is literally so hard. How do you put aside the character that you have, I don't know, like the expectations that you have for a character that you loved for 3 books? 3 books? 3 books.
See, I wasn't a Kale girly at all, even my first time reading it. I was fully Dorian, so I didn't get... I was so focused on the Dorian being a demon.
Yeah, okay, fair. But like I'm having such a hard time reconciling this version of Kale with what we were given for the first 3 books. Like I did not see this version of Kale when I imagined future, you know? That's why I feel like, oh, I said it though. I said when, like, back in whatever book it was, whatever episode, that Kale was going to be a betrayal. Like, that was where where a betrayal was going to come from.
I remember that.
I wished not, but he's being a real freaking douchebag in this book. And I just want to punch his face. But anyways, I love Rowan. It's okay, I guess. And now I just need more Lorcan.
Lorcan, unfortunately, doesn't get his good parts until, like, Empire of Storms, Kingdom of Ash.
So she's gonna make me wait for it.
Lorcan is gonna be, like, the slowest of slow burns for you, because you've known about it since the beginning. But you're not gonna get any satisfaction until, like, the last half of the last book.
Is there any satisfaction, though? Like, I feel like that is from what I've seen, it feels like it's not as satisfactory.
God, do I answer this?
No, don't answer it. I'm just venting. But yeah. Great chapters this episode. I don't really have anything else to say, I don't think.
Oh, buckle up, because the next few episodes are going to be wild.
Oh, shit.
Well, until next week, make sure that you read up to chapter 39 of Queen of Shadows.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hope it's as good as these. God damn it. And with that, our Coven summoning comes to a close. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
And follow Caffeine and Conjuring on Instagram and TikTok to stay up to date on our journey through Throne of Glass.
Every chapter, hear the call. Adventure